Welcome back, guys. We have some really great news from the OCG. They're getting their new core set, Legacy of Destruction, and we have a support for an old fan favorite archetype. And the support cards are really great. So welcome back, guys. We have here new support not only for one old archetype but exactly for two. We'll talk about the other one in a moment, but you can see we have new Lighton support, which was one of the best decks back in the day and one of the most fan favorite decks, and also one of the most expensive decks. For those of you who do not know that, the old Lighton card, it was like Minerva. She was tournament exclusive and therefore was like around like I think 1,000 euros. Correct me if I'm wrong here in the comments. Maybe you have played back in the days, but obviously lucky for us, Konami has not continued this trend of printing meta relevant cards as tournament price cards. We have seen a lot of normal monsters as tournament price cards in the recent past, with the Glatonia, for example, the another Verse Dragon, and so on, and that's quite nice. But we are getting new support for the Light Swan here. We have a level 4 Dragon of a Light Swan, level 4 Light Dragon effect. You can only use the first, second and third effect of this card's name once per turn. If you have a Light Swan monster in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, which obviously this is pretty easily achieved as you're always milling stuff into the grave, especially your Light Swan cards. So a really easy free material, free Light Swan, and then if this card is special summoned, obviously it has there an effect. Note here that it's only if it's special summoned, so you can not normal summon and then profit from this effect. You can send one Light Swan card from your deck to the graveyard, except this one here, which is great. This is just exactly what the deck wants to do. So a very nice starter that you can basically use for free, also as an extender. And third, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one dragon monster with a 3000 attack, 2 defense, to 6 defense from your deck to your hand, which is also really great because this allows you basically to search, for example, for your punishment dragon, which, by the way, a little spoiler alert here, you can see the price just exploded here in the market. It was so the market price was here still at $5, but you can see there are no more copies at $5. They have risen up in price quite extreme. You can also see that they are being sold at a higher price point that they were on the market before. So the market is definitely reacting to this and buying up these copies, which I think if you want to view this from an investment perspective is quite clever, because it's clear that this new support will also need the old cards, as we will see in a moment with one of the new released cards, and obviously people will then buy these old cards. If you were a clever investor and you have seen this early, then you could have just bought up these remaining cheap ones that are no longer here, obviously. Could have bought up the remaining cheap ones so that you can resell them then later on in the year when the support comes out in the TCG. We can be very interested in seeing how strong this will be in the end in the OCG. Remains to be seen, but this card is really amazing, a good addition. And then we have Core Legacy, a Wise Light Swan Archfiend, also level 4. You can only use one and second once per turn. You can place one other Light Swan card from your hand on top of the deck. Special summon this card from your hand, then send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Also quite nice here. I think the other one was definitely better. Maybe there will be some synergies with tier elements. There were in the past some experimentations to combine these two archetypes. Obviously, their deck ideas or their core ideas when it comes to game plan go hand in hand. And then second effect, if this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, which obviously happens all the time, you can target one Light Swan monster in your graveyard except this one and special summon it, which is amazing. For example, if you would special summon this guy, then obviously the second effect would trigger and you would then be able to send another Light Swan card to the grave. So as of right now, really great support. I really love this theme of Konami, just giving old archetypes, especially fan favorites like Light Swan, a new support here so that you can play them again. We have a fusion monster, Enlightenment Dragon, a level 10 Light Dragon fusion effect. A Judgment Dragon and the Punishment Dragon must be special summoned by banishing the above cards from your field and graveyard, one from each, which obviously would be better if you can do both from the graveyard. Then it would be like a vicious Astrolaut, very strong. So first effect, once per turn. Quick effect, you can pay 2000 life points, banish all other cards on the field and in the graveyards. I mean, this is quite amazing. We can take a look at the old Judgment Dragon, the card that basically started it all. Obviously there are a lot of reprints for this card, so we don't need to be worried, but you can also see that the price is going up right here, but it's still quite cheap, you could say. This one was able to destroy all other cards on the field for 1000, so you are basically able to erase everything from the grave and the field for 2000, which obviously is very impactful. And then once per turn during the end phase, send the top 4 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Also amazing, as you probably will be able to, if you summon this guy, have him on the field at least until the end turn, and then he can summon more bonus effects. If this card is destroyed by your opponent, you can add one each of your banished Judgment Dragon and Punishment Dragon. Remember, you would then banish them via this effect here to your hand. Then you can special summon both, ignoring the summoning conditions. Okay, so quite insane here. But I think this archetype also needs very strong support to be able to get back into the meta. And then we have Minerva, so an additional Minerva, which this is the old card that was the tournament card, the Minerva. Minerva Lightsworn Athena. It's a synchro summon, 1 non-tuner monster. You can only use a third and third effect of this card's name once each per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can send Lightsworn monsters of different types from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of Lightsworn monsters used as material for this card summon. So you will be able to do this with 2 different attributes, so quite strong. And then Lightsworn monsters you control cannot be banished by card effects, which obviously is really nice or goes in handy with the Enlightenment Dragon, because oh no, you will banish all the cards on the field. Oh yeah, you will banish all the cards, but you will keep your own Lightsworn monsters. So obviously you can pretty easily set up an OTK if you get access to both, to both of these cards here. And yeah, super strong, super cool, new core mechanic and a way to finish off your opponent. So if you ask me, very strong here. I think this will be a set that people are very hyped and very interested in. Could be one of the best sets in this year, just because the reprints or the new support for these old archetypes that are very fan favorite. We have another card here which also is insane. So it's a trap, normal trap. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once each per turn. Target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Lightsworn monsters you control and negate their effects until the end of this turn. So really nice. You can negate monsters. You can also negate spell cards, keep in mind. And you can obviously, so let's say your opponent has like established a bit of a board and he activates a spell card, and then you use this, and then you might be able to negate the spell card but also negate a monster. And then if this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can set it, which is also crazy, because obviously this can also happen on your turn, and then the trap is basically ready on your opponent's next turn. So the support is really solid, really strong, and I'm very interested in seeing how this will end up when the set comes out at the 27th of January. Then we have also new support for Ancient Gear. We can also take a look at, I'm not quite sure, I'm not super familiar with this archetype, but we can expect that cards like the Ancient Gear Golem probably have also, upped in price here. Not quite sure if you would play it in this new deck, but let's read the cards. It's level 8 Earth Machine effect. You can only use the second effect once per turn. This card name becomes Ancient Gear Golem while on the field on the graveyard. Obviously very important to enable all the synergies. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can activate this effect. You cannot set cards for the rest of this turn. Also add up to 2 Ancient Gear cards and or Gear Town from your deck to your hand except Ancient Gear Dark Golem. Then discard 1 card. Very strong effect here. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell traps until the end of the damage step, which this is okay, right? But this is definitely a cool upgrade for the deck. We have also Ancient Gear Tanker. You can only use a third and second if this card is normal or special summoned, so level 4. You can special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your hand except Ancient Gear Tanker. Does this work with the Ancient Gear Dark Golem? It does. So you can also summon the new boss monster, as you might say, from your hand, except this one ignoring summoning conditions, or if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon it from your graveyard instead. So this is a monster reborn or a special summon from the hand or the graveyard. Very powerful card. Obviously a monster reborn for any archetype that's also a body, that's basically attached to a body like this, that you can then, for example, use for, I don't know, link summons or maybe XYZs, is very strong. And then a second you can target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, for the rest of this turn, all monsters you control that are Ancient Gear Golems or mention it gain 600 attack. Quite nice for maybe pushing with the last remaining damage missing. So really solid here. And then we have the Ancient Gear Commander, level 4 Earth Machine effect. You can only use first, second, and third effect. First, you can send 1 Ancient Gear Golem from your hand, deck, or face-up field to the graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 Ancient Gear monster. Quite a cool effect, especially because you can send one from the deck as well, so you don't need to basically give away resources. Second, if you normal or special summon Ancient Gear Golem, you can special summon one Ancient Gear Golem from your hand or graveyard, ignoring its summons condition. So that's also nice, a lingering effect. This is on the field, and then if you special summon an Ancient Gear Golem, then you can special another one from hand or grave. So it's pretty easy to get a lot of bodies on the board. And third, you can banish this card from your graveyard, place one Ancient Gear Continuous Trap from your hand face up on your field. I'm not quite sure what their continuous trap is, but it might be quite strong. Let me know in the comments if you know what that is. And then we have Ancient Gear Advance, a continuous spell. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. And then it says, when this card resolves, you can add one Ancient Gear spell trap from your deck to your hand. So a searcher, always nice. Any card that searches is always a good card for any archetype. And then once per turn, you can tribute one monster, draw one card, and if you do until the end of this turn, you can normal summon level 5 or higher monsters that are Ancient Gear Golems or mention it without tributing. Obviously also amazing because this enables you to basically summon the new boss monster, as you might call him, the Ancient Gear Dark Golem. So also very, very strong support, but I think the Ancient Gear archetype is definitely in more need of good support than is, for example, the Lighton archetype. But two very famous archetypes here, one very, very fan-liked archetype, you could say. And then we have another card that we can quickly take a look at. Not quite sure how impactful this will be. I can't even... Okay, now. It's Dragon Magiar Master. It will be released in OG Quarter Century Duelist box, so not in the same set here, but it needs a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon or 3 Blue Eyes monsters plus 1 Chaos or Black Luster Soldier Ritual monster, so not really easy to summon this guy is. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card, and you can only use this for a spell, trap, or a monster once per turn. So 3 negates, which is very strong if you can manage to get this guy on the field. Maybe I'm missing something here because I'm not really into like blue eye stuff, but let me know in the comments if there's an easy way to summon this. There might be just a card that can achieve this, like a Branded Fusion that can use the materials from deck or whatever. If this face-up card leaves the field by your opponent, you can special summon one Blue Eyes monster or one Chaos Ritual monster or one Black Luster Soldier monster from your graveyard or deck. So extra deck, so you can then obviously resummon basically the materials you used for this. Also quite nice, but as I already said, not quite sure how easy this is to summon. You might know more about this. If you know, let me know in the comments what you can do to summon this awesome guy here. Is there something, or is it just more a meme and an anime card? Okay, so really great news, really insane here. Especially the Lighton cards are, in my opinion, really interesting. Also artwork wise, I really like them, for especially the little Judgment Dragon here. So let me know in the comments what you think of these news. Are you excited for the archetypes? Have you maybe played them in the past? Let me know. Otherwise, thanks for being here. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell, and we will see each other in the next one.